In the 60s, the world was introduced to J5, and in the 2000s, B5 would follow in their footsteps. These 5 young boys knew at a very early age that their look, sound, and talent would take them places. However, just as they were learning to navigate their growing popularity, they also began to learn about the trials and tribulations of the ruthless music industry. Let's find out whatever happened to American R&B boy band B5. B5, consisting of the 4 Breeding brothers, Dustin 17, Kelly 16, Patrick 14, and Brian 10, originated from St. Petersburg, Florida, and later relocated to Atlanta, Georgia. Carnell, 13, is actually their cousin. However, he's very much considered a brother since he was raised with the others since he was very small after his biological mother became a fatal victim of domestic violence. They were encouraged by their mother to pursue music professionally, so they made the rounds in Florida showcasing their artistry and built a local following. Some of their musical influences growing up were Michael Jackson, New Edition, NSYNC, and Backstreet Boys. Enter Radio Disney. Radio Disney was an American radio network operated within the Disney General Entertainment content. The network broadcasted music programming oriented towards children, preteens, and teenagers, so it was right up B5's alley. The boys entered a contest, won that contest, and would go on to win every other event Radio Disney put on. Clearly impressed with their talent, the network eventually made them the official Radio Disney dancers. But the ball really started rolling in 1998 when they began performing under the name TNT Boys as a 4-member group consisting of the oldest 4. Their manager then took them to Atlanta to audition for record labels. While there, they met the CEO of Worldwide Entertainment, Kevin Wales. He suggested that they add youngest brother Brian. At first, the rest of the boys didn't think it was such a good idea since he was so young, but they ultimately decided to give it a try. After Brian joined the group, the name was changed to B5 to denote Breeding 5 in 2001. Kevin then introduced the boys to the man who would sign them to their first record deal and introduce them to the world, Bad Boy Records CEO, Sean Diddy Combs.
All in the video, all on the record, dancing.
Their self-titled debut album was released in July 2005 and produced by Diddy, along with some other top people in the business, including Rodney Jerkins and Ryan Leslie. It entered the Billboard 200 at the number 19 position. The album produced 2 hit singles. Their debut, called All I Do, which is a cover of the Jackson 5 song, All I Do Is Think of You. And the follow-up called You Got Me. Their popularity was so massive that during a November 2005 performance at Brookdale Center Mall in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for the Radio Disney Jingle Jam Tour, a riot ensued and many people were injured after fans rushed the stage. The group members were even stripped of their clothes and jewelry. 2 years later, their second album, titled Don't Talk, Just Listen, was released. The first single, called Hydraulics, featuring rapper Bow Wow, and its follow-up, In My Bedroom, didn't get the same attention as their debut due to a lack of promotion. Not surprisingly, it would be the last album they released on Bad Boy Records. It was at this time the group decided to experiment and try new things. Along that journey, they rebranded themselves and changed their name to Audio. The name change didn't help their career in any way. Eventually, they opted to take a little bit of a break so they could grow as individuals and live life. Then, on April 26, 2013, the group would surprise fans by announcing the release date of their new single called Say Yes, which would drop the following week on their new label, Motown Records. They also went back to using the name B5. The song was well received by fans and critics. The music video, even though already uploaded to the group's Vivo, would have its first televised showing on the R&B hip-hop music video show, BET's 106 & Park. The comeback, it seemed, was going very well. They even had a new album that they expected to be released. However, that album would get shelved, and due to internal conflicts with management, the group would separate once again. Carnell took to Instagram in a since-deleted post, blasting Motown and speaking his truth, saying, "It's sad that we have so much talent, but we continue to go through BS all the time. Lies, false hopes, waiting and waiting continuously on labels, time and time again. The bad thing is that our inner team sucks so bad, we can't even move like we want to really without the label." Then he goes on to plead to the real B5 fans to post outside Motown's head office in Manhattan to see what's good. In a December 2015 interview with RatedRnB.com, oldest brother Dustin commented on what the group learned from the experience. "You've got to be careful who you trust. Be careful of who you have in your circle. Be willing to learn from other people. Keep good people around you and keep your circle small. Keep your contacts. I think artists should really take that role on more themselves versus putting all their trust into a manager." Dustin began his solo career with the release of his first single called Pay It Forward, off his EP titled Different, at the end of 2015. After his poor management experiences while with B5, he chose to go the independent route and create his own entertainment company. Both Patrick and Kelly would follow in Dustin's footsteps shortly after. Patrick dropped his first solo track, Here We Are, in the latter part of 2016 in anticipation of his EP titled New Breed. Nothing more was heard about it until 2 years later, when he posted a snippet of another song called BFILG, or Before I Let Go, on his personal Instagram. It includes a sample of the song of the same name by R&B soul band Maze. Kelly, now going by the shortened Kel, also debuted his first solo track called Don't Know How to Dance. His EP, titled The Artist, was released to iTunes in October 2016. After 5 years, B5 reunited in 2018 and dropped their comeback single called Do That. In May 2019, the group announced that their new EP, titled New Jacksons, would be released that summer. The album comes from the group's lifelong inspiration from the Jackson 5. To coincide with the album release, they also dropped their second single called Wave. The timing couldn't be better, since a couple of months prior, B5 made a surprise appearance on B2K's The Millennium Tour and received an amazing reception from fans. Interestingly enough, the tour was B5's idea. They pitched the idea to B2K and encouraged them to reach out to other artists to see if they would be interested. The next thing B5 heard was the announcement of the tour and everyone involved, minus them. Another headliner, R&B hip-hop group Pretty Ricky, reached out to them as the tour prepared to hit Atlanta to see if they would be interested in joining in on that leg. B5 jumped at the opportunity to hit the stage, in their hometown no less, and ended up putting on a show to remember. Unfortunately, as the summer came and went, the group updated their fans, letting them know that due to a new distribution deal they were working on, the album would need to be pushed back. As of the making of this video, New Jacksons still has not been released. Off the heels of the Millennium Tour, it was announced in August 2019 that B5 would be joining fellow R&B artists Ray J, Jay Holiday, Day 26, and Immature on the new TB reunion tour. Only 7 shows were initially scheduled, but apparently that was still too large of a task to complete. Before things even kicked off, cracks started to show. Ray J, citing his need to be with his pregnant wife, dropped out of several shows. As time went on, several dates ended up being canceled entirely. There wasn't any official word as to why, but many speculated that it was due to low ticket sales. Then, Jay Holiday took to Instagram to vent his frustrations and disappointment with how everything was being handled.
Ray J, and B5, and Johnny, Devin, Devon, whatever your name is, start reaching out for people. Thinking they ain't gonna hear about it, because you're gonna have to cross our path, bro. You're gonna get you and your group beat the up. Period.
First of all, I don't know what the you're talking about. I don't even know what he mad at me about, or mad at me and my brothers about. B5, I have no idea. This is new to me. This is news. But even besides that, it's like, you can't sit there and just be talking some and talking crazy and calling us out our name, and we don't even know what the fuck is going on. So at this point, niggas, like, really, you, nigga, I don't even gotta know what's going on. And nigga, you know what it is. You can pull up, nigga. I think we both in Atlanta, nigga. I'm in Atlanta, I think he in Atlanta. It's whatever.
July 19th, 2020 marked the 15-year anniversary of B5's debut album. Brian took this milestone moment to make a since-deleted Instagram post acknowledging the special day and also blasting Bad Boy for ripping them off. We made about 99.9% of all our income from live performances and merchandise. Until this day, I've never seen a penny from any of our B5 commercial albums. For years. We reach out to lawyers, advisors, and even TV networks for a chance to help us or tell our story, and no one ever touched it with a 10-foot pole. So here I am, telling my story, my truth, and not from a woe is me perspective, but as an example for the next generation of young artists to write and own your content. B5 isn't the first act to complain about not getting their coin from Bad Boy. Many other artists, such as rapper Mace and R&B group 112, have all spoken about not being fully compensated for their publishing. Diddy, however, wasn't the only person to be called out. Patrick also chimed in on Brian's post and confronted Disney about not paying Kelly for a rap he wrote for their song Get Your Head in the Game off the soundtrack for the musical television film High School Musical. This was a drastic difference to what they had to say about their former boss just 1 year prior. When they were making the rounds promoting the new Jacksons album, they only had positive and very diplomatic things to say about Diddy and their time at Bad Boy when asked in interviews. Dustin showed off his acting skills while appearing in producer Chris Stokes' musical drama series Howard High in May 2020. Later on in the year, Carnell released his new mixtape titled Amethyst, including the single Water Gun. Today, Dustin, Carnell, and Brian are all fathers. Carnell and Brian also put a ring on it and are officially off the market. There's still no word on when their third album will be released. However, fans can follow B5 as a group or each member individually on Instagram, as well as the group's official Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube accounts for updates. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you won't miss any future videos. See you next time!